Luke, where do you want to start? Because there are so many angles of like joy from that day. Whether it's Eberechi Eze and that full circle moment in his career, whether it's Gyökeres quieting all the trolls online, and scoring two brilliant finishes in their own right. Max Dowman. We'll talk about the injuries in a moment. Let's focus on the positives. Yeah. Where do you want to start?
Where can we start? Yes, to start from the beginning.
Okay, go on then.
He goes to the game and there's like, please take your seats at 5:15 for a special announcement, and everyone's thinking, no, surely not. Is it really going to be?
Yeah.
And then I don't know if that's ever happened. I might be wrong, but I can't think of like.
It's certainly not usual.
It's not usual.
It's almost a reveal at the stadium.
Yeah, it just felt it just felt incredible, and I think because we know the story of Eze and his love for Arsenal, and it just felt. And I don't know if people have seen it, and I don't know if it's deliberate, but. You see the advertising boards when it goes to it's the airline, Fly Emirates, they change it and it says it's not about the destination, it's about the journey to get here or something along those lines.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it was deliberate, but it's as he's walking out, and it just made it a little bit more beautiful and special. And you could just see his smile and he taking it all in, and the number 10 shirt. And I've watched the interview today with Wrighty, and that's kind of the players you want. And I've sat here and I've talked about whether he can play as a 10 or whether he can play as an 8, but sometimes that's all irrelevant, because when you have a player that just wants to play for Arsenal so much and wants to win with the club and supports it, you feel that within him. That's the fan in him, and that's how I feel every week when we go, and now he's on the pitch and he's going to have his dream, and it's wonderful to see. Even
when you talk about the sort of the questions around his position, and we've had these conversations in the studio, in the office. You're right, that is irrelevant. And he even said that. He asked him, have you had any sort of conversations about positions? And he said, well, ultimately, it doesn't matter, I'll play anywhere because I want to play for Arsenal. And for me, as someone that isn't an Arsenal fan, I found the whole story of Eze and the whole way it's been dealt with, I think, brilliantly by both Palace and Arsenal, so heartwarming and sort of just a refreshing reminder of the best of football. And for someone like Eze, who is... a joy to watch, who's clearly an absolute gentleman, really articulate, thoughtful, been brought up well, has worked incredibly hard. I love his story, of rejection through the EFL. And for me, it just adds that extra energy behind your title race this season. So incredibly exciting for Eze. But let's talk about another player who really wanted to play for Arsenal, Viktor Gyökeres. Particularly that first goal. Yeah. It just shows... Yes, you can be a great striker in Portugal and do it in the Premier League. This nonsense that of course it's a jump up, but it can't translate. He put all that to bed, didn't he? It's just, look, people will have their opinions on the goal, and people might think it's a simple goal or whatever, but it's what Arsenal have just lacked and missed for 2.5 seasons. Yeah. We talked about it at length, the beautiful football around the box, how intricate it can be through the lines and the pockets, but sometimes just a little bit more of a direct approach and making something out of nothing is what we've missed. And I just loved that goal. Calafiori whips it into space. It's not really to him, it's striker running the channels, see what you can do. And then he takes it on his own, it cuts inside between two defenders, sharp finish into the bottom corner. And it was like, wow. That's a striker. I know it sounds like an obvious thing to say, but the fact that Calafiori lumped that ball, lumped it, just shows that the players, they've had a direct order from Mikel Arteta, and it shows that Arteta knows. And of course he knows, he's a great tactician, but he's willing to do what you've been asking him to do, which is to loosen the reins a little bit and sort of add something to the game which Arsenal haven't had, which I think Arsenal have stifled themselves going forward in seasons past. And to see him just put a ball forward to a big man up top, who by the way is much quicker than I can remember him. And just to go and score a direct goal out of nowhere, it's so refreshing to see. Yeah, and you know what I'm like, I like to focus on the very minute details. You do. And in the first half, I noticed that they were playing, especially Saliba. We always play around the back, but Saliba was always looking as, can I get the ball over the top, but to his feet? And he kept trying it, and it worked a couple of times, and he was, going down the lines. I thought, okay, great, we're using him as a more of an out. No, that's fine. But I was thinking, can we just whip one into space early, quick? Can we just do that a little bit more instead of trying to play to feet? Can we just play
in space. And then within 30 seconds, minute and a half, 90 seconds into the second half, we did that and it paid off. And I thought, this is a striker's going to add a lot more. He loves the physical battle. I've said that before. And obviously, look, still early days. There's still some bits of improvement, what he needs to do. Just to play a little bit more football with us and join in.
But what it is, Luke, it's the fact that there's so much pressure on players nowadays, particularly strikers bought at a big price, and especially strikers bought at a big price that go to big clubs like Arsenal. And you just know that someone as young as Viktor Gyökeres is glued into the social media world, as they all are, and will have seen all of the memes, seen all of the criticism about his weight, about his hair, whatever it is, and some of the worst sort of clips from that United game. And you know that if that gets in their head, they don't score in the first 5 games, you're talking about potentially having a flop season, because the mental battle, and for him to get 2 goals, I think is great to see and a real relief for Arsenal fans. On a negative side, though, it's absolutely devastating for Bukayo Saka, who's definitely going to be out for that game against Liverpool, and he's going to miss those England games, which is, devastating for the nation. And then there's doubts around Martin Odegaard. What do you think Arteta's going to do in terms of setup and player selection on Saturday? Please tell me Eberechi Eze is going to start, because he's been playing pre-season. He's already played for Palace. Surely he's just shoo-in, number 10.
Yeah, and also Anfield. Eze likes to play at Anfield. He's been quite good recent seasons. I do think Madueke starts in Saka's position at wide right. I was kind of impressed with him, actually. Some really nice touches.
Why would you be, mate? He's a really good, solid young player.
Really, really impressive. I love the way he can go inside and out. I think that's really... There was a little link up there with Calafiori.
I just think some of the hate, and I know you've not been, but obviously I know you weren't behind the petition brigade, but the criticism... What do you expect from Madueke? Do you expect him to be like Lamine Yamal? No, he's sort of once, twice in a generation player. He's a really good young player. He's a really good signing for you.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't got a lot of time to discuss that in length, but look, I've definitely not the brigade and say no to it. Like I said, it was all about the optics and this left winger and the striker that we needed to sign, and we started to prioritise Anoni Madueke that was playing in the Club World Cup, and no other teams wanted him, and even if we signed him so early, he was going to have 3 weeks break because he was on holiday. It just didn't make a sense of why that was such the importance at that time. But like I said, when we heard the news that if you get Anoni Madueke, if you're getting Eze and you're getting striker and you're building a new form attack, that's a really, really smart bit of business. Everyone's talking about the price tag, and look, we've literally just come on here 15 minutes ago. We've just seen Wolves have rejected a £50 million bid from Strand Larsen. It's the going rate. I'm sorry, Alanga's gone for 55 million. João Pedro's gone. I'm not saying these players aren't worth it, but it's just the market is so inflated. That's what Man United paid 70 million for Bryan Mbeumo. No one's really batting an eyelid. It is what it is. You just have to pay the money, and
you've brought him in for this specific very reason. Yeah. Sadly, Saka's out again, and so he slots in on the right. Where does Eze fit in? Does Arteta start him? I think you've got to rip the Band-Aid off and get him on straight away.
Yeah, I'm interested to see, though, how Arteta... Because obviously Arteta really doesn't like Anfield. So I'm really interested to see how... Does he go for it? Are we a bit more conservative? What I mean by that, does he mean that
Eze... Marino up top.
Well, does he play Marino in midfield? Does he play Eze in midfield? Or does he play Eze left wing with Madueke right and Gyökeres through the middle? Does he keep it quite tight in midfield? And then he's go Timber? Does he play... He probably will play Timber then at left back. I'm guessing it could be Calafiori because there's no reason to drop him.
Yeah.
There's options in there. But look, isn't it weird that we've come on here, discussed an injury to Bukayo Saka and Martin Odegaard, and we're talking like I'm relatively calm because of the depth we've got? And this is what we talk about, sufficient depth. Like players that can come in and actually can make a difference. We haven't even mentioned Gabriel Martinelli in all of this, which I still think there's a player in there.
Of course there is.
He didn't come on, obviously, on Saturday. People are reading into it a little bit too much. I was a bit worried because... Look, Max Dowman, what a beautiful moment, what a brilliant moment. The guy's 15. It's extraordinary. It's a great story.
On that, do you expect him? Do you expect him to be a fixture on the bench, this season? And do you think Arteta has got it in him to say, I know you're young, but you're good enough, so you're going to play?
Well, I'd been asked this question before, and I generally said I'd be shocked if he played 5 minutes of Premier League football. Generally, I would. I'm not going to pretend. Even when he came on, I know the game was done, but I expect him to feature maybe the League Cup games. Maybe if you're 4-0 up in a Champions League game with 5 minutes to go, you bring him on for the experience. But you just... I don't even know how to say it because it's so difficult to manage. He's 15. He's in year 10. I don't even know how you even go about it, really. So I was... Even the fact he got 25 minutes in a Premier League game, it was outstanding for him, brilliant for him. Did wonder if it was a little message towards Martinelli. That might be me reading into it, being a fan, and you just look at those things and go, oh, he didn't come on today, okay. Yeah. Trossard's come on ahead of him. Okay, what does that mean? They're still weak in the transfer window. If we're talking about sales and outgoings and we need to have one big sale, even coming on today, we've just been linked with another defender in Kape for 50 million. He's thinking, blimey, this is everything we've wanted. But then, obviously, players might have to come and go. Obviously, that might not directly link to it, but if we're getting rid of a couple of defenders and we think the squad is too bloated. Gabriel Jesus is apparently just coming back from injury. Don't know how much we can rely on him. But if we can get a version of Jesus that we've seen in the past, does that push Martinelli further down the pecking order? Do they feel that Jesus is a better contributor to Martinelli? I don't know. Maybe I'm just reading into it too much. But, 2 wins from 2, no goals conceded. It's hard to... You don't want to get carried away, but it just feels good. Even being at the ground, it just felt, even being back, and I'm not just saying it because just being back in the match day atmosphere, the first one at home, it just felt something different. It just felt like the energy had been come back after last season, the buzz and the momentum and the optimism. And I think, like I said, this talk about the trophy and the pressure thing, it comes with it because everyone is on the same page. We all want to win the big trophy. We're not hiding from it. We're all in it together. We all want to win. And let's just see what happens on Sunday and keep motoring forward.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.